is show number 47 of Lenny Solomon Live, and what a show it is. Yes, indeed. Because it is Tuesday night, and Tuesday night means we go in depth with one of the original members of the band, and might I say, the original member of the band. He is the original drummer coming to us. Gary Wallin is here in studio. How you doing, Gaz?
Thank God, Baruch Hashem. Good to hear from you, Len.
Oh, it's great to be here. We have a tremendous show for our audience, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the band came to be, how did we meet? How did we meet, by the way, Gary?
That in and of itself could probably fill this whole half-hour segment, as well as do a lot of overtime. And by the way, I forgot to say, I am absolutely touched that you picked me for show 47. As an original member of the band, show 47, that's unbelievable. That means I made it into the top 50, Len.
Yes, you did. 50. And you know, I got to tell you something
I'm very
funny.
touched. And by the way, while we're watching, may I give a shout out to our brothers from Shlock Rock, Yona, Danny, Mark, and Innie. Here's to you guys. We should get to...
Yes. Wait, you're starting to freeze.
Well, somebody, for some reason, it says incoming video call. Is that from you?
Nope, because I am on a desktop.
I understand. I don't know what that is. Sorry for this inconvenience.
That's okay. So I'll keep talking. So the thing is...
Yeah, we have it set for disturb. Obviously, somebody in...
There you are. You're back. But now you're sideways.
Hi, Lenny. Lenny, this is
amazing. I love live. Anything can happen live. That's the greatest thing.
Can we tell some of the better stories of you coming out on stage live, Lenny?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to go there, but I must tell you how many times that I have flubbed lyrics live in the first 47 shows. Now, by the way, the reason that it took 47 shows for me to get you on is because only 3 shows ago with Eitan G did I figure out that I could actually invite guests into the studio. I am technologically, let's just say, handicapped. And the fact that I have gotten that I can have a split screen and have you on the right, me on the left, or whatever side you want to say.
Well, I'm sure
on.
I speak for Eitan G as well as the other members of the band. As usual, we are pleased and honored to be your filler. So here we are, and let's go.
Yeah, well, you're not our filler. Now, listen. So for everybody out there, the band, what was one of the most interesting things about the band was that we were all living in the same apartment building. Me, Gary, and Yona. Yona's the guitar player, Yona Lloyd. Gary Wallin on drums, of course, here in studio, and myself on keyboard. And we were all living in the same apartment building.
You can go there, actually, like going to Abbey Road and take a picture in front of it. The address is 83-15 Lefferts Boulevard. There is no parking in front. So if you pull up, get out quickly, run up, take a picture. There may be a guy smoking a cigar in front. You can take a picture with him, say hi, Barry, and then get back in your car and drive away. But that is the original headquarters of Shlock Rock, the Abbey Road of Shlock Rock headquarters international.
It's true. And I lived in that building from 2 years old. And only when I got married did I move out. But then after...
I'm sorry, but I'll have to disagree with that, Lenny. Lenny, yeah. in that apartment building, what apartment did you live in growing up?
I lived in apartment 2B, as in boy. And
2B,
then,
but then I remember there was a time where you and your brother said to your parents, Mom, Dad, we're moving out. And can you tell everybody where you moved to?
Well, you moved to apartment 2D, 2 doors down, because you see, who wants to cook? Who wants to cook? I mean, you know.
And the only thing that came between you and your parents was?
Apartment 2.
Rabbi Mandelbaum.
Rabbi Mandelbaum? Was he apartment 2?
Or Mandelkorn, Rabbi Mandelkorn.
No, it wasn't Rabbi Mandelkorn. It was Rabbi...
Your next door neighbor.
Yes, but I don't remember his
Well,
name.
anyway, back to
But I
Shlock.
will tell you this. I will tell you this something very interesting. You know that the house, the apartment house, which had 96 tenants in it, they sold. They sold the building. The Sekenic sold the building. Did you know that? Oh, I don't know why we're talking
Did they
about this.
include
This
any
is
of
not
your
what I was
CDs
planning on
and
talking
cassettes
about.
in the sale?
What'd you say?
Did they include any of your merchandise in the sale?
No, I still have 12,000 CDs in my mother's second bedroom in apartment 2B. Now, I must tell you guys that CDs are not really an item to be sold anymore. Isn't that true?
That is true, but they work very well as coasters.
Yes. Anybody wants to have a hot chocolate on a Shlock Rock Sergeant Schlocker's Magical History Tour CD? There's plenty available. As
Excellent.
well as
perfect for your Hanukkah and holiday shopping needs.
As well as the other 35 discs that we have made. Now, I stopped making discs after number 36. The last 3 albums were only released online. And, of course, you can get them at schlockrock.com. Or you can get the entire catalog digitally for only $108. I bet you didn't even know that, Gary.
I did not know that. But why don't we take everybody back to, where is it? 1988. Should we take everybody back to 1988, the World Tour?
Yes, the World Tour. Now, we had a couple of great, let me tell you, first thing is a couple of great trips in 88. One of them was the Seattle-Vancouver trip.
Memorable, very memorable.
That might have been 89.
I don't think that people are going to look back at the history books and challenge us.
Well, actually, the discography and all of our shows are online at schlockrock.com. You could see where we played from 1987. When our first show was it was really a solo show in September of 87. And I was in Toronto and in Montreal. I did a solo show. But then the band got together. We put the band together in December of 87, and that was Smithtown, Long Island for Smithtown, USY, and then Bayonne, New Jersey, we played. You remember that? You were on the band.
The greatest locations we could have ever performed.
Yes, because we did end up going to all 50 U.S. states. So, okay, it started off with Smithtown and Bayonne.
But you know what? People loved those shows, and we developed the following. You developed the following, that people would come to us from all over. If we were playing in Queens, I would remember these 5 Hasidic guys sneaking into the show as soon as the lights went down, so nobody should recognize them. Not that any of us recognize them, but we had people coming to shows from all over. How about the Merrick crowd that I know is watching this live? Even Randy Brand, the Nathansons, the Abixers, when we would play out in Merrick.
Merrick was the greatest. 550 people packing the place. We would be playing 1,000, 1,100 people a night sometimes. And
there was no social distancing at those shows.
No. Well, at that time there was no social distancing unless till last March, actually.
I guess this is what we talk about, the good old days.
You know, it's true. The last show that Shlock Rock did was February this year, February 2020, and I came back from my tour February 11th, 2020. Right. It was Kingsway Jewish Center Super Bowl party, February 2nd. We played a show.
Shout out to Rabbi Tokayer.
Yes, he was great. That was such a great show, and there was great food. And now there hasn't been a show in pretty much 9 months. All shows are online right here at the Four Corners Project studio. That's where they are.
I think that's pretty amazing. You know, I may be joking about being number 47, but the fact that you've put this entertainment out for people, all in the name of helping raise funds for this great project of yours, the Four Corners Project, I know I'm proud to be a member of the band as well as just know you, and I think your spreading of Jewish education through your music has definitely inspired me as well as many generations that are out there.
You know, we have regards from Harrisburg, PA, David Powers. I don't know if you know David Powers, David and Jonathan Powers, Mark and Louise.
Shout out to you, Powers.
Mark and Louise moved to Israel. They made Aliyah, and there's Dave. Yeah. So, let's go back to 88 because 88 we had one of the greatest experiences. I remember coming to you and saying, Gary, we're going to do a summer camp tour. It was the first time we had, and we ended up, you and I, we did all the hustling.
This was legendary.
And we did 16 camps, 16 or 17 camps. I even have the list here, believe it or not.
So some of those camps still do exist. Some unfortunately do not. But what I will tell you is that first year when we went there, it was like deer in headlights. And we can tell some of the stories. But since we had no knowledge of how to put together a summer tour or what we were doing, I think the stories of that alone were great, from just trying to figure out our transportation, to which we rented a cargo van, and we told the man that we needed to have 4 seats in there. So he took a bench seat, put it in the back, and tied it in with some rope. And now that was going to be the transportation for the Shlock Rock summer tour, which featured Lenny Solomon,
Yonah Lloyd, yourself,
myself, and the one and only
Dr. D.
David Winter, whose catchphrase by the end of the tour was
Yerushalayim!
Yerushalayim!
That's right. Dr. D. What happened was we developed the top 40 of the Lordy there in the middle of Baruch HaGever. Oh, and also you developed I was sitting in the laboratory late last night. You remember
That is correct. The Shlock Rock Mash was born, or actually stolen, during that tour.
That's right. Now, we started off in Camp Raleigh, June 29th. It was the first show of our summer camp tour.
Now, if I remember correctly, almost every summer of our lives, we started off in Camp Raleigh because...
Well, in the beginning, because we should add that Danny Block, who was our sax player, or an original sax player, his father ran that camp, right?
The one and only Sam Block.
We kind of got the gig. Was one of the reasons we got the gig, but we were also really, really good. Actually, it wasn't really because we got the gig. I believe you, Len. We were there. I believe you. But we were the most rocking band that you could ever want at a camp. We got the kids going.
What I liked even better than going to the religious camps was when we hit some of those camps that didn't know what was hitting them.
That's true. So we'll get to those camps, but first let's go to Camp Hask. Camp Hask was the second show. Now, the greatest thing about camp, the funny things that pop out for me was they wouldn't let us come onto the campgrounds to unload our equipment. Finally, we had to beg them. They said, okay, you could bring your car right in front of the place, and then get it off the grounds. You remember that?
Yes, challenges. We had challenges at many of the locations we went.
But fantastic show. Then after Hask, we did La Vie, which at that time was run by Dave Fishberger.
The one and only Dave Fishberger,
right?
That's for sure.
And then from La Vie, we went to Seneca Lake with Irv Bader.
Everybody's favorite director, the one and only Irv Bader.
And then we started hitting the non-religious camps. Camp B'nai B'rith Perlman, Camp Surprise Lake. We did those next 2 fantastic shows.
Harry was at Surprise Lake, right?
Yes, fantastic shows. Camp Hatikva, which was around for a couple of years, and I don't think it lasted more than 2-3 years, but it was a good camp.
We were doing one show. I remember one year we did a show at Hatikva, and there was a big blackout.
Right. Oh, I remember that. Isn't that when we were supposed to break Color War with that? You know how many camps we broke Color War for?
Yes, we were the official breakers of Color War.
Then after that, Camp Hillel. We went to Camp Hillel, which Mark Infield spent many summers there.
Yes, he was on the staff there, and they gave us a very nice, warm greeting. I believe also Josh Herring was there.
Yes. Yeah, he's a great guy. You see, we just got a message. Come to Chattanooga, Tennessee. There is a Chabad. Very nice.
You can be there by midnight tonight if you want.
All I can tell you is I've always wanted to play Chattanooga. I've played We're Tennessee. Memphis, Nashville. We've played Augusta, Georgia, which isn't far from there. But Chattanooga, we've never played. You know, they say, okay, we have a room.
Well, we would play anywhere they would put us up.
The first thing we have to do is get rid of the quarantines. Okay, that's the first thing to
that
our
sounds
message,
like a good plan. I like
people,
that.
because I have a rule. The rule is if I have to fly to New York first, because you fly to New York, and then fly back to Israel, and if I have to quarantine in either direction, I ain't going. No quarantine for me.
Okay, well, we hope to see you soon, Lenny.
I hope so also, because I haven't seen my mom in 9 months. But anyway, okay, then after that, we went to Flanders Day Camp. You remember that? Metro West, Jersey.
Flanders was out in New Jersey.
Yep. Then Camp HES, which I can't remember.
Flanders, wasn't that where we met Jelly Spear?
It could be.
I think a lifelong Shlock Rock devotee.
I don't know what Camp HES is. Do you remember it? Can't remember.
Lenny, Camp HES was the camp where you met the mashgiach, remember? The owner of the camp said, I'm going to introduce you to the rabbi. And at the barbecue, he introduced you to the rabbi.
I don't remember. But
it was a fine hamburger, Lenny, a fine hamburger.
Then Camp Cuts. Camp Cuts was a reform camp. We played
Correct.
there.
There was a great moment behind stage while they were having their evening prayer service.
And then we went for the first time to Camp Monroe. Now, Camp Monroe, we ended up playing over 20 times over the next...
Became our home away from home, to which we must give a shout out to the one and only Stanley Felsinger, Lenny Andur, Dave
Krieger,
right.
And Bruce. Bruce was the fourth owner. Now, you know, they ended up selling the camp. They don't own the camp anymore. I don't know if you knew that.
I know.
Okay, we're almost at the end for everybody out there. Camp Luema, which is another Federation camp.
To which it was always an honor to play at the UJA camps, because we were. Are we allowed to say who subsidized the tour?
I don't know. Who did subsidize the tour?
Wasn't that Mr. Wallbaum from the famous Wallbaum's supermarket?
The Wallbaum Foundation. Yes, may he rest in peace.
That's right.
Ira Wallbaum, may he rest in peace. Yes, that's he. He passed away a while back, but yes. And Nancy Wallbaum now runs the foundation. His daughter, and so I must tell you. So yes, that's right. He subsidized. He subsidized the tour. That was very nice. So anyway, we played Camp Luema, Camp Sedgwin. We got to play Camp Sedgwin. An iconic camp. It was over 75 years old. It closed down 2 years later. That was it. They shut their doors 2 years later.
Sedgwin was another Federation camp.
Yes.
And it shows you that the UJA, you know, a lot of people always say, what does the UJA do? We got to see what they do, that they really provided summer camps with real Jewish pride and Jewish identity for a lot of people who otherwise would not have been in a Jewish camp.
Yes, it's true. Okay, and then we finally finish up the tour with 2 concerts in Philadelphia. One is at the Philadelphia JCC, and the second one is at Camp Arthur Rita, which I remembered. That's a sleepaway camp. I remember us playing it. It was the last show of the tour, and that was the first of so many summer tours that we did. Now, by the way, I'm getting requests for songs. I just want you guys to know this is not a musical night. This is an interview night. Thursday night, I'm going live with more music. So Thursday night is when you'll hear some more songs. But the Tuesday night show is always interviewing members of the band, members of the Shlock Rock Hall of Fame, of which Gary Wallin, our original drummer. Why don't we tell them a little bit about you and your start in Trumbull, Connecticut, which is where you grew up?
Yes, the epicenter of modern Judaism. I was born into a wonderful family in Trumbull, Connecticut, 06611. As many people tell me, yes, I've passed that exit on the highway off of the Hutch or off 95. So yes, Trumbull, Connecticut. We did proudly have a few other Orthodox Jews who came out of Trumbull, Connecticut. So we'll give a shout out to the person who actually used to do all of our merchandising, the one and only Mike Wisner, who now proudly lives in Zichron Yaakov, as well as to the one and only, what was his nickname, Dave Bogner, was the Bones of Shlock?
Yes, Dave Bones Bogner. Dave Bones
Bogner, former Navy SEAL and originally from Trumbull, Connecticut. So yes, funny. Dave Bogner was also from Trumbull, Connecticut, and I was very proud that my father was the rabbi in Trumbull, Connecticut for 36 years. And when it came to 11th grade, I packed my bags, went to high school in Queens, yada, 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 ended up moving into an apartment at 8315 Lefferts Boulevard.
And it was at that
point
I met
that I was only Lenny Solomon.
And I was starting to put the band together. And that's how Gary got into the band, as the drummer. And
correct.
Not only as the drummer, but you managed us for a little bit, right?
Correct. I handled merchandising, sound system, packing the car, unpacking the car, and occasionally finding us quality meal.
Yes, indeed. It was a okay, there's a request to sing Minion Man. Thursday night we'll do Minion Man. Can't make everybody happy. This is an interview show. You know, by the way, we've done 21 minutes already, and it's like time just goes. I can't get over that. How quickly. Let's just talk. I got to talk about two things, Gary, as we have 9 minutes left. We must talk about our Anchorage, Alaska trip. People say, where did you play? We've played all 50 states. All 50 states. But the thing is, we must talk about our 1990 trip to Anchorage, Alaska. Do you remember
it like it was yesterday?
The flight? First thing is we have to give a shout out to the Gratians. The Gratians brought us to Anchorage, Alaska. They were, and they are, amazing people. They're still living in Anchorage, by the way, although they went to Seattle in between and then they moved back to Anchorage. So we are on our way to Anchorage. You remember that? We were on our way.
We had a stopover. We had a stopover in Los Angeles. We were supposed to change planes and head up to Alaska.
Why did we have a stopover in LA? Do you remember?
Because there were no direct flights.
No. We were going to Seattle, and then from Seattle we were going to head to Alaska. But Mount St. Helens erupted, 37,000 feet, and we were diverted to Los Angeles. Now, while we were in LA, while we were in the airport, waiting to figure out what they're going to do, there's an earthquake in the Los Angeles airport. We're waiting online, and the ground starts moving beneath our feet. And me and you look at each other, and we get up
I can still picture the walls moving, and the payphones, that's how long ago it was, literally shaking intensely.
Yes. Yeah, and by the way, somebody says even Hawaii. Yes, we were, of course, we played Hawaii, or I played Hawaii in 2014, or 2013, I think it was, in Honolulu. It was an unbelievable trip. But we must finish this Alaska trip. So here we are. Now we're supposed to be going to Alaska, but we're diverted to LA. We get because of the volcano eruption. Then we get an earthquake in the airport. Finally, and we get up to the counter and they say, act of God, have a nice day.
But they did offer us, they said, most airplanes cannot fly through the ash because it's dangerous. They said, if you'd like, we can transfer you to Alaska Airlines. They'll fly through anything. To which we said, no, thank you.
But now I've taken Alaska Airlines. It's a great airline.
But you didn't fly through Mount St. Helens.
But that time we didn't do it. So, but I will tell you though, we finally get to Anchorage, and we're driving in Anchorage, and there's a sign that says road closed because of avalanche. So we had 3 natural disasters in a 24-hour period. I thought to myself, this does not bode well. But we did.
But it was all worth it because it was a Jewish cultural weekend, and we met an amazing artist and spent time with him, whose name was Mordechai Rosenstein.
Yes.
And I actually stayed friendly with him. And he actually sent me a wedding gift. He sent you a wedding gift as well, a beautiful piece of his art. And we had a great time. And I remember sitting out on a very snowy night while it was snowing on our heads. And we were all sitting out in a hot tub after the show in Alaska.
It was unbelievable. It was 30-degree weather, and we were in a 104-degree weather hot tub. I remember it. And we each had a bottle of seltzer. That's what we had. And then
correct. Good memory.
What they wanted us to do What they wanted us to do was go out of the hot tub and roll around in the snow. That's what you do, apparently. But that brave I didn't get. And
No, I did that. Hence, about a week later, I was sick as a dog.
did you really do that, Gary?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I did not do that. So anyway, so that was our Anchorage trip. The other trip that was a very interesting trip was our 1989 Seattle Vancouver trip, where
another very memorable. Wasn't that Thanksgiving weekend?
It was, and we flew in from New York to Seattle, and there were the Gratians, and they were kind enough to give us their SUV. You remember that?
Right. Well, that's because Lenny was Lenny. I gotta promote you a little bit. Lenny was always a nice guy, and whenever he could save the client's money, he would do his best to do so. So instead of a 3-point ticket of going New York to Vancouver to Seattle and back, which would have been a very expensive ticket, he worked it out that we would just fly round trip to Seattle, and then we would drive up to Vancouver to save everybody some money.
And unfortunately, what happened was Shabbos was at 4:00 because it was November 27th, whatever it was, that time of year, and we got stuck at customs, and just barely.
I can still picture somebody wearing, I believe it was a New York Giants ski hat. Would that be correct? Oh, Rangers ski hat.
Yeah.
Wearing a long parka, stitches flying in the wind, and Lenny says, "Oh, I'm going to walk up to the border and tell them that we're observant. Maybe they'll let us pull up there." Lenny walked up to the border. They told him, "Go get back in your car."
Yeah, they were not friendly, but we made it through, and we made it to a hotel. Unfortunately, we didn't get to the shul. We made it to a hotel for Shabbos, and the next day I walked 4 miles to the shul to let them know
so that's Lenny's side of the story, everybody. We were in the hotel room, and it was absolutely frigid up there. And Lenny goes, "I'm going to go for a walk and see how far we are from where we need to be." And that was the last we saw Lenny at about 9:00 on Shabbos morning. The day went on. We had no communication from him, obviously. And we were sitting there going, will we play the show tonight? Can we get a different keyboard player? Do you know all the lyrics to the songs? So on and so forth. And afterwards, Lenny called us after Shabbos and said, "Hey guys, we were only like a mile away from where we needed to be. I had hot cholent all Shabbos. It was delicious." So
yes,
we were happy for Lenny.
But we were 4 miles. So I walked 4 miles. It was crazy. Down Oak Avenue.
Every year that trip gets a little longer, doesn't it? First
yes,
year
it does.
was a mile.
I did it without any shoes too. It was barefoot. No, but I do remember the most unbelievable view of walking down Oak Street in Vancouver, seeing the snow-capped mountains. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. So that was our Vancouver trip. We had so many fun adventures, and we've only touched the surface, Gary. We've only touched the surface. But I've done
that is for sure. But I'll still never forget. I know we've had some funny and technical and that, but I'll never forget. I think it was in Columbus, Ohio, when it was before Shabbos, and I think the people who were hosting us, the lady asked you to play piano,
and she started crying.
She started crying. She was like bawling like a baby. I'll never forget that.
Shlock Rock was the greatest Jewish rock and roll band, and I shouldn't say was. Of course, it still is, but right now we're in a different type of an evolution where we have evolved 34 years later, but it had such an impact on people, especially people who lived far from the metropolis, from the New York metropolis, from the where you had 30 shuls in 3 blocks. And that's why the song Minion Man affected everybody, because it all hit home for them,
Just think about all the lifelong friends that we have made, that you have made along the way. When we ended up that first year in Florida by Ricky Rothstein, Ricky and Ira.
Oh, that was the best. The best.
Got to give them a special shout out. There was never a time that they didn't have room for us.
No, Malone Rothstein. They always called it Malone Rothstein. There were so many people every city that we went. I always used to say, I'm like a Chabad. If anybody has to go to a place for Shabbos, if anybody wants to go to a place for Shabbos, I can get them a contact, whether it be Montgomery, Alabama, or Des Moines, Iowa.
I remember Jacksonville, Florida. We were sitting with our fans at a Shabbos table. They were as little as 2 years old that who was sitting with us. Remember?
Yeah. That was in Jacksonville, Florida when we got. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that story.
A good time was had by all.
All I can say is this: we're at the end of our 30 minutes, believe it or not, and we're gonna have to have you. We're gonna have to have you back, Gary, because the thing is, we have only touched the surface. But I must say this to everybody out there. Somebody wrote to me, "We are in hell, in COVID hell," and I want to tell you guys, this is
that because of our show?
Maybe it's a very difficult time right now. It's a very difficult time. It just is. I had corona between September 22nd and October 5th. Thank God for me, it was just a mild flu, 6 to 8 days. I only took Tylenol. I didn't even take any drugs, but I'm fine. I'm fine. I got through it. And it is a very difficult time because we're stuck. You can't travel anymore anywhere. There's no concerts. But we will get through this, ladies and gentlemen. We will get through this. This is just a part of the journey, and we have to.
Well, if this doesn't show you who rules the world, that Hashem is the king, then there's nothing out there that can possibly show it to you.
It's true. God has taken everything that we knew to be solid: the airline industry, the hotel industry, the travel industry, the sports industry. You can't even go to a game anymore, right? You can't even go to a game. Who ever heard of such a thing? No, no music, and he has taken it, and everybody stopped this, and there's a reason. Hashem,
it's like
somebody just wrote.
It's like being on a subway train at 60 miles an hour, and somebody pulls the emergency handle. That's what it is.
Somebody just wrote, Hashem is in control, and yes, he is. He is in control. It's not us.
Everyone needs a reminder every once in a while, and this was the reminder for everyone all at the same time.
The problem, of course, is that this reminder has lasted almost 9 months already, or more, and it's really we're all fed up. Aren't we, Gary?
Like that song in Life of Brian said, always look on the bright side of life.
Now listen, everybody out there, we're going to come to an end. It's
Lenny, give him a few bars. Lenny, give him a few bars. A Minion Man, they're begging.
I asked the man I saw how many Jews in this town. He said to me there used to be a minion around, but one of us passed away and we've been feeling down. Yet now it seems as though another Jew has been found. Won't you stay with us for Shabbos, Minion Man? Okay, everybody, listen, everybody out there, go to www.4cornersproject.org. Make a donation for the year. Make a donation for the year, everybody. You have to, because we have to keep going. In our 47 shows, we have already played to close to 47,000 people. We are averaging around 985.71 people per show. I'm the only one that would know.
I think people are calling in donations right now.
Yeah, I'm hearing it. So, yep. That we do take American Express. We take all credit cards and PayPal too, of course.
Tax deductible.
501c3. But seriously,
before December, seriously, before December 31st, everybody help support the Four Corners Project. Lenny Solomon has given his entire life to helping promote,
but it's been fun.
Judaism, Jewish awareness, and Jewish pride all through his music. And the least we can do is help support his mission.
Thank you very much. Gaz, it's been an amazing time to have you on. And
Lenny, love you like a brother, man.
Same here. We will do it again. before, like in once we get past the, I guess we'll get as much of the original 6 as we can get. Next week, our special guest is going to be Ethan Bill. Ethan Bill will have a lot to say on studio production, as he produced the last Shlock Rock album called New Shul. He played all the instruments, even sang harmonies. Unbelievable musical genius, Ethan Bill.
A super talent. Hey, don't forget to vote.
Oh, yes, everybody out there, vote. I even voted from Israel. I voted from Israel.
Very proud of you, Lynn. Very proud. We're not asking you who, but very proud of you.
No, we don't. We do not talk about who we vote for, because it's not anybody's business. That's my father, my mother. They always just say, you don't tell anybody who you voted for. It's not. I don't appreciate when Bruce Springsteen or Lady Gaga or LeBron James or Brett Favre. We don't need to know who they're voting for. Everybody, you got your vote. You vote for who you want, and that's the way we do it, right?
100% correct.
And we schlock and roll. We keep on schlocking.
No matter who the president might be.
No matter who. All right, you guys. Have a great night, and we will see you on Thursday night with show number 48.
48. Peace out from Woodmere, New York.